In one of our headline-making stories this evening, leader of the opposition in India's Lok Sabha, Sushma Swaraj, has criticized the demand for Tamil Eelam by some political parties in Tamil Nadu.
According to The Hindu, addressing the 5th State Conference of the Bharatiya Janata Party, leader of the opposition in India's Lok Sabha, Sushma Swaraj, said TNA leader R. Sambandhan, whom she met during their visit to the country, had emphasized that he wanted the Tamils to remain within a united Sri Lanka. She went on to say that he insisted only on a genuine political statement. Sushma Swaraj said, quote, "When such a respected leader of the Tamils was for a political solution within a united Sri Lanka, why are some parties here raising the separatist issue?" unquote. The leader of the opposition insisted that the unity and integrity of Sri Lanka be respected the way India's unity and integrity were respected. She went on to say that her delegation visited the affected people and interacted with them without any interference from the Sri Lankan officials, and added that the people revealed all their problems without any hesitation. Leader of the opposition in India's Lok Sabha, Sushma Swaraj, added that they had made it clear to President Mahinda Rajapaksa that it is not just Tamil Nadu that is bothered about the plight of Sri Lankan Tamils, but the entire nation was concerned about them.
Minister of Housing, Construction, Engineering Services and Common Amenities, Vimal Veeravansh, says that pronouncements made by parties in other lands led to the distancing of the Sinhalese and Tamil communities. The minister made this statement during an event at the Vavuniya District Secretariat yesterday.
Karunanidhi has stated that he is committed towards creating a Tamil Eelam. While living in India, he is trying to ignite fires here. He will be safe from these fires. It is the people in this country who will be affected. In the past, it was these fires lit from Tamil Nadu that divided the Tamil and Sinhalese communities here. We can't let this country return to the past. We who witnessed and experienced the agony of war have to ensure that it will not take place again. That is our responsibility. 150 beneficiaries of the housing project currently under construction for public officials in Vavuniya received loans at this event.
Well, the Janata Vimukti Peramuna says that the government is making statements that it has stopped the transaction involving the purchase of shares of the finance company by the NSB in order to divert attention from the issue. JVP Politburo member Sunil Handulnethi says that the government should take full responsibility for the situation that has arisen following the transaction.
We feel that the government is attempting to divert attention away from the issue pertaining to the NSB and the finance company. Now, they are attempting to find an escape route by saying that this transaction has been halted. This is the usual tactic followed by the government, to let issues die down with time. Recently, Bharat Lakshman was murdered, but the government has not conducted a fair investigation. Then, how can the government do justice to an issue such as this? The money in the NSB is that of the people. It should be protected. People invest in state banks because they have faith in them. If the people lose faith in these banks, the government should bear full responsibility for it. The government is attempting to divert attention using various issues. No one knows what happened to the swords from the museum. The people don't know what will happen to the people responsible for Bharat Lakshman's death. Treasures are being excavated with state security. No one knows what happens to it. Several people have now commenced gambling with the state banking system to such an extent that it is on the verge of collapse. Where did they get money for this purpose? We all know that honest businessmen or honest government servants will not have this kind of money to invest in this manner. The government also has a responsibility of investigating as to where this money came from.
However, analysts note that this is only one out of many similar transactions which have taken place at the Colombo Stock Exchange in recent times.
Institutions that failed, which was assisted by the government and came to the market again and began operations under different names with different directors, but having similar related party transactions and conflicts of interest. In this situation too, civil society asked that a full investigation be done. That was also ignored by the authorities. Finally, these stocks and shares used to end up in institutional accounts of the National Savings Bank, other state banks, the EPF and the ETF at inflated prices. Now these 5 points of error, therefore, as civil society, we appeal again to the authorities, regulators, market disciplinarians and the market professionals to get together through a mechanism of a finance commission or a banking commission to look at all the errors and correct the mistakes and go forward to build a good stock market, properly regulated, looking after the interest of all stakeholders, especially the depositors.
The United Trade Unions of the National Savings Bank, issuing a media release today, noted that they expressed their apologies to the customers over the disrepute caused to the name of the bank due to this issue. The release also noted that it has been brought to the attention of the union that the customers of the bank have begun to panic about the financial stability of the bank, but that since the transaction has been halted, no harm will come out of it to the bank. The union points out that it will take steps to inform the relevant officials, including the president himself, about this transaction.
Meanwhile, UNP parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva inquired from Parliament today as to how the government stopped the purchase of shares of the finance company by the NSB.
The law must be enforced. We have a law in this country. We are all under it. Then I can say that I took a housing loan from the NSB thinking that the price of my house will rise with time. However, it didn't, so I will not pay back my loan. I cannot say that because I am a citizen of this country and I am under its law just like the NSB. What I am saying is that this cannot be cancelled according to the law. Now they are saying that they can cancel it at any time they want. Please state in the government's reply how this is being cancelled and what law is being used for this purpose. I challenge the government. On Business News tonight, UNP parliamentarian Karu Jayasuriya says that the government has imposed an additional tax burden on the public to overcome the losses that are being incurred by state institutions. He pointed out that 5 state institutions, including the Ceylon Electricity Board, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and the Sri Lanka Transport Board, have incurred a collective loss of 65,000 million rupees last year.
Mahajana මුදල් නාස්ති කරන ආකාරය දැක්කම විශේෂයෙන්ම රාජ්‍ය ආයතන.
We feel very hurt by the manner in which public money is being wasted. It is the people's money that is being wasted. There are many state institutions in countries such as Singapore. Those public enterprises earn profits and function efficiently. There is no political interference. Relatives are not appointed and they operate perfectly. However, what is happening in our country? Appointments are given to friends and relations. We are aware that 77 state institutions run at a loss. The loss of just 5 of these institutions amounts to 65,000 million rupees. This is not peanuts. This is money that has been destroyed. This 65,000 million rupees belong to the people. How much of work could have been done with this money? When such massive losses are incurred, the government imposes additional taxes to cover it up. That is why taxes are imposed on dry fish, medicine and dal. In the end, it is the people who have to pay for this.
මේ පාඩු පියවන අවසානයේදී කවුද මේ වගේ වන්නේ මේ රටේ මහ ජනතාව.
And it's time now to take a look at the cartoon of the day, which we selected from among today's English newspapers. And it's time now to take a look at Action TV.
A large number of farmers in villages such as Koiladigama and Karuwalagaswawa in the northwestern province who have been engaged in cattle herding and farming have been forced to give up their livelihoods due to various issues that have cropped up. Among the issues are protecting their livestock from groups engaged in various rackets in the area and the harm caused to their crops by wild elephants. Against this backdrop, over 300 farmers who are looking for new livelihoods commenced farming the medicinal plant Katuwal Batu or Solanum xanthocarpum about 10 years ago. While private buyers came forward to purchase these crops, they also provided advice to strengthen the farmers.
We decided upon Katuwal Batu as we can grow it without fear of the crop being damaged by wild elephants or pests. But now we are facing difficulties with regard to transporting the crop.
This difficulty is the seizure of their crops by the police during transport. Although the transport of jungle plants is prohibited under the Flora and Fauna Ordinance, this law is not enforced for certain plants which are farmed for medicinal or nutritional purposes. In spite of this, these farmers who went in search of a new livelihood have been left despondent. As an institution, they can import from India, but instead of doing this, they are using the labour and land here, and we are also receiving an income. So will this be allowed, or will they import and continue to send our money abroad? This is not a crime, it is medicinal and helps a lot of people, but they are not allowing it. Shouldn't measures be taken to provide relief to these farmers who only turned to growing this crop after being forced out of their traditional livelihoods? Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police for the Northwestern Province, this one is over to you.
Minister of Private Transport Services C.B. Ratnayake stated in Parliament today that a colour code would be introduced for vehicles transporting school students. The minister made this statement in response to a question raised by UNP Deputy Leader Parliamentarian Sajith Premadasa.
There are several regulations that those who engage in the school van service should adhere to. These regulations were introduced following various incidents. What is the legal status of these regulations? These regulations have been introduced by the provincial councils. The Road Passenger Transport Authority will act according to the regulations imposed by the provincial councils. We are holding discussions with the Attorney General's Department in order to obtain legal advice to regulate this sector. The statute books spell out the legal measures that can be taken if road rules are violated when transporting students. Taking these facts into consideration, we have introduced a colour code for vehicles transporting students as part of the program, which is being carried out in this regard.
Staying in news from the Parliament, UNP parliamentarian Ravi Karunanayake raised a question in Parliament today about local potato production, importation and consumption.
In India, the production cost is between 8 to 10 rupees, while in Sri Lanka it is around 35 rupees. What is the reason for this difference? Everyone is aware that in Sri Lanka the cost of production of some goods are high. The President had called the Ministry of Agriculture and taken some decisions to reduce the cost of production. So in the future we will be able to reduce the cost of production. The Freedom Party has ruled the country for 20 years. They use this formula and impose an importation tax. When it goes up, they blame India for inadequate production. What is the permanent solution for this? I was in the UNP cabinet with you. However, during the tenure of the UNP, we failed to secure the farmers' votes. Despite what is lacking in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, they received the farmers' vote in agricultural areas. The difference is that we told the truth and are in the opposition while you lie and stay in government. When we visit Dambulla, they don't sell produce, but bars have been opened instead. I say with responsibility that no bars have been opened at the Dambulla Economic Centre.
Still in local news, the 4 soldiers suspected of shooting a 15-year-old cattle herder in Dharmapuram, Kilinochchi have been arrested. The police said that the cattle herder was shot on the 6th of this month after the soldiers had become suspicious of the boy when he was looking over a herd of cattle in the jungle. The boy who was injured in the shooting is currently receiving in-house treatment at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital. According to the police, the 4 soldiers were arrested following an inquiry that was held yesterday. They are due to be produced before the Kilinochchi Magistrates Court for an identification parade.